What's going on, everybody? So today I want to do an updated version of my top 5 solo legendary farms that I made. I have it over here. I made it about 4 months ago is the last time I updated this list. And since then, I believe they've nerfed Mount Zavane a couple of times. More recently, they nerfed Mount Zavane and Ashfield Cemetery. And they've also changed some mechanics like treasure goblins, drop legendary items. So I think that there is a lot of different farms that are now either not viable or way more viable because of the changes done. Now we're focusing on solo legendary farms. The reason for this is when we are including group farms, it changes the landscape of a lot of these nerfs as well as a lot of the spots. And I haven't tested every single one of these spots as a group farm yet. And so I'd have to go back and do every single spot in the game as a group farm, because if you farm as a group, it changes the spawn rates. So we're going to stick to the solo farm because I was able to test it relatively quickly. So it still took me a couple hours to go across each of these farms and then test them for about 20-30 minutes to see if they were better or worse than I already had done. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so starting off at number 5 here is going to be Mount Zavane's Graveyard Farm or Cemetery Farm, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be a very, very good solo farm. Now, this one hasn't really changed since the nerf, which nerfed a couple of spots at Mount Zavane and Ashfield Cemetery, and it is still a decent farm. Now, keep in mind, it isn't absolutely amazing because, of course, we are going to find that we have a couple other better spots on this list in of itself, but it is still a very solid one for those people that are interested in farming a solo spot. Looks like someone might actually be here already. Now, with the changes to the treasure goblins and everything like that, this spot unfortunately doesn't benefit from that a crazy amount, which is why it's in 5th place. Another thing to note with this spot is that you're going to find these little paladins that are going to set up and basically prevent you from killing them. So if you're going to farm this location, you're going to want to bring some sort of CC move so that you can continue to go ahead and clear through the monsters. But the basic premise here is you can do one of two things. If you have a lot of CC, you could go in a circle right here. Just right in this circle, there's a spawn in the middle, and you can just kill off these guys. Usually you could pick up these two on the side as well. If you are not a character that has a lot of CC inbuilt, then you may want to go for the longer farm around here, because you'll find that there is less paladins kind of spread out, and you can always come back to the paladins once they drop their shield. So that's going to be the 2 locations that you can farm kind of in this graveyard. Also, there's an XP shrine or a shrine spawn over here just north of me, and that is kind of nice to pick up here if you are interested in farming around. I'm not going to grab it because it looks like some people are farming right now, and I'm just trying to run away, but definitely a first solid solo farm spot. All right, next to that one, we have our next farm, which is honestly one of my more favorite spots. And that's going to be the Bilefen area around here. Now, you're going to go down to Kokuris Rapids, and you're going to go take the southern route all the way around, and I'll show you here. Now, I spent a lot of time in Bilefen ship farming, and so this spot is great for me when I want to go ahead and start active and then maybe transition into a more AFK farm or more relaxing farm. I can easily just move over a little bit. This isn't much better than the graveyard farm, but it does have more treasure goblins. And the basic premise for this farm is you're going to want to go ahead and farm in a circle. Now, the trick with this one also is that you kind of want to wait until the bridge is spawned. Now, the bridge spawning is kind of like this random event type thing. I'm not exactly sure what triggers the bridge spawning, but I'll show you guys here in just a second. You could do it without the bridge spawning, and it's still fine, but it's not as good. So right here, this little bridge here, you're going to want to transition from this north area, go over across the bridge, come out the Hermit's Outpost, go around, and then wrap back around on that southern area. It's going to be a pretty solid farm for you guys to pick up all these monsters. Really quite like this farm, to be honest. I've noticed that Bilefen itself has quite a few orange elites, quite a few quest monsters, so if you're looking to get dust, that's also another bonus, and quite a few treasure goblins that spawn, and so I quite like this Bilefen spot. That's number 4. Let's move on into number 3 here. And number 3 is going to be a spot that really hasn't changed. Number 5 and number 3 are ones that haven't changed too much. That last spot was a new one. This next one is going to be the Shasar Sea Oasis. Next to the Oasis in this area, I don't even know what this area is typically called, but it's like a demonic area with a really straightforward and solid farming location, especially as a solo player. Now, because our damage has gotten higher, our XP rates have gotten slightly higher. When I first went over the spot, it was like month and a half into the game, and I was mentioning we were going to get like 75k XP per minute as a solo player. This has gone up to about 85k XP per minute, so it is slightly higher than the two aforementioned spots on this video. But basically, you're going to enter this little portal, and you'll find that there's going to be locations of monsters all around this edge of the spot. And it looks like someone's just gone through here and killed a couple, but you're just going to walk around, be able to keep up that kill streak, and then just kill the monsters as you go through. Keep in mind, if you kill too fast, the monsters will actually not spawn quick enough. And so like if you have a frenzy shrine or something like that, you may want to drop that. But if you're just farming normally, it should be fine. Looks like someone's already here and killing off a couple of the monsters. But you can keep up the kill streak if you are smart about it. And you're going to want to make sure you kill off the groups very, very quickly and kill them completely so that the packs actually respawn when you come back around. Very solid one, and something that I've actually used quite a bit earlier on into my Diablo Immortal grindings. Now, this next one here is something that I think is a little bit different, and the bonus for this one, and the reason why I'm putting it ahead, despite its slightly less experience per minute, is because of the event in the area. I found that a lot of people actually value this Tree of Inifis, and every single time I mention it, people are very, very excited about it. So I figured I'd drop it at number 2 spot because I do think it's a solid farm with a little bit of a hidden upside if you don't know what you're doing in this spot. You're going to be going over when you get enough kills in this location to purify the corruption at this tree right here, and you're going to guaranteed glowing shard or legendary. Sometimes it's a legendary, at least it'll be a glowing shard, which is a nice little bonus for those of you that are looking for crafting materials. But we're actually going to be heading down to the fetid swamp, and we're going to be taking a very long route here. Now, you don't necessarily have to go this super long route, but it can be a little bit better than going with a shorter route. Depends on what you want to go for. So I'll show you the shorter route, and then I'll explain the longer route on the map. So what we're going to be heading towards is just this little area around the fetid swamp, and we're going to be killing off all the monsters in that area. This one's quite nice, and can be a little bit better if you farm with a group, of course, as long, well, pretty much with all these spots can be a little bit better if you're farming with a group, but overall, not a bad spot at all to just kill up some monsters. Quite a few actual higher quality creatures spawn here. I've noticed, you can even see there's actually a yellow right on our screen right now, but I've noticed that in this area specifically, you'll find that it has a little bit of a higher quality of spawns, which isn't typical, to be honest, and you'll find that it'll be nice to go ahead and pick up some of those higher chances for legendaries. But you're just going to go around this area, lots of little mini quests around here, kind of bypass it. That does get a little bit annoying, to be honest, a little bit of a chest here. And if you're annoyed about all the little indicators, this might not be the spot for you, but it is solid for you to be able to farm this location. Looks like someone who's actually been through here, but decent enough for you to farm. And if you want to, when you reach that 100% corruption, you can go ahead and move towards that tree, like I mentioned, and actually kill off that clone of yourself to get a free glowing shard. If you want to go and continue this farm, this one is a little bit more of the long game, but what you can do is you actually can go all the way through the nesting grounds, come back around through the battle camp waypoint, and then go back through the cursed grove. Now, the reason why this is nice because there's a lot of spiders around here. Now, the spawn rate on the spiders is pretty poor, but the density is really high, and so by the time you wrap around, you actually get those spiders back up again, which is really, really nice for you guys to get some solid XP. Next one up is nothing new. I say this in every single one of my videos. It does not matter what farm I'm going over. None of them compare to the Realm of Damnation spots. And I decided, oh, looks like I died. But I decided to go ahead and actually do a combo of, instead of putting this as the number 1 and number 2 spot, I figured a lot of people already know about the Realm of Damnation spots. So what we're talking about is the Hall of Punishment, the super long route, and then the smaller route at Plains of Torment. Those are just going to be the absolute best farm locations in the entire game. The only problem with that is that a lot of the times people know about these spots. So I figured combo spot, number 1 and number 2 as basically just number 1 at the Realm of Damnation. These spots you're going to expect around 120k experience per minute if you're grinding quite solidly as a group. If you're solo, you can expect about 100k experience per minute, which is really, really nice. Now, not only that, but they have really high treasure goblin spawns, really high legendary orange elite spawns, and you'll just be raining in loot, raining in XP compared to so many other spots on this list or in the game in general. Definitely recommend you guys try out these spots. I'll run over there here real quick and just showcase the real brief spot. The reason why this is so good is because the walking distance in the actual location is a very, very small one, but the spawn rates are super high. Or you could go to the other northern realm of damnation spot, and you'll find that the spawn rates are not super great, but the density is some of the highest that you'll see in the game. So super, super nice for that. Again, you'll just run around in a circle at this farm location, killing off all the monsters. Make sure you finish them off before you move on to the next one. Otherwise, you'll be sad when you walk back and you'll see one tiny wolf sitting there. You can't. I don't know how many times I've done that, but it's been a lot. But you're just gonna run in a circle, kill off all these monsters. This one's not really a new one, but you're definitely going to want to pick up a bunch of kills here. So that's pretty much it for the list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I did take like about 2 or 3 spots off my list because of the nerfs, and I also changed up a couple ones. And of course, I've rated a few ones higher than other ones than I previously did because of the treasure goblins and things like that. So some similarities and some major differences between this one and the previous list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys can find a spot that's solid for solo farming. I know that with the recent nerf, it's kind of taken some of your favorite spots out, but hopefully you guys understand that those spots weren't necessarily the best anyways, so maybe this will be a overall net positive. I still don't understand why they nerfed it in terms of it didn't make any sense to nerf the mid game or mid players. It didn't make sense to nerf the higher players. Even the casual players wouldn't care if it was nerfed anyway, so it just doesn't really. If they wanted to nerf it and make it more difficult for us, they could have done a better job, is all I'm saying. But thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, be sure to like the video, sub to the channel, and I'll see you all tomorrow.